morning. Breaking news at this hour. Maui Mayor Alan Arakawa just moments away from taking the podium to share details of that deadly plane crash on Lanai. I'm Paula Akana.
And I'm Ann Sterling. We do have live team coverage across the state right now. But first, as we know, we want to take you to this press conference. We do have team coverage for you. Let's go ahead and talk about what has happened and what we know at this point. Again, this airplane went down about 9:30 last night on Lanai. We know that 2 people died. They were Maui County Department of Planning employees. The pilot also died in this plane crash. We also know 2 other planning employees are in critical condition right now at Queens. And the 3rd person at Queens is a deputy attorney with Corporation Counsel. He is in serious condition.
They had been on the island of Lanai for a planning commission meeting, and they went on a charter flight to leave that island. It left a little bit after 9, and it did burst into flames just after takeoff. Now, we're told that this is a regularly scheduled meeting. They're on that island, and I think we are going to go right now to Mayor Alan Arakawa.
What you see are victims. We cannot confirm. There's a police procedure that is in place for identifying victims that we're trying to respect here. Also, please refrain from asking how the plane went down. If we knew there were any mechanical problems about the plane, if there was bad weather. We don't know the circumstances of the crash. We're leaving that up to federal investigators. And now Mayor Arakawa will say a few words.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today. At around 9 last night, 4 members of our planning department and one of our Corporation Counsel attorney got on a charter flight at Lanai Airport to return to Maui. Their plane ended up crashing about a mile southeast of the airport. Emergency dispatchers were called at 9:23 p.m. by one of the passengers of the plane who described the crash site and where they were in relation to the airport. Fire personnel arrived at the scene about 12 minutes later, where they found 3 injured male survivors, 2 deceased females, and 1 deceased male, the pilot. 2 of the survivors were in critical condition, while the one who made the phone call was listed in serious condition. All 3 were airlifted to the Queens Medical Center, where they are still undergoing treatment. We do not know why the plane crashed or the circumstances surrounding the crash. These questions are best left to the FAA and NTSB investigators. What I can say is this: we lost 2 of our own last night. One of them was a longtime employee who worked for us for decades. The other was a bright young planner who was dedicated to her job in serving the public. The entire county mourns for their losses. That the pilot, who also died in the crash, our hearts go out to his family as well. We would also like to wish these 3 people, or our 3 people that are being treated at the Queens Medical Center, a speedy recovery. We have sent the Managing Director, Keith Regan, and a team from the county to Oahu this morning to meet with the survivors, to see how they are doing, and to try and provide anything we can do that might help them get through the healing process. For the rest of our county family, especially our Planning Department and Corporation Counsel, we'll be making grief counselors available for anyone who needs them, either here, Maui, or Lanai. From what we understand, our people at Queens are being treated for 2nd and 3rd degree burns on their face and hands. The severity of those burns vary among the 3 survivors. We also understand that we may have had more casualties had one of the survivors not been able to move the other 2 away from the flames. He was also the one who called 911 as soon as he was able, which enabled the emergency crews to attend to the injured quickly. I would also like to thank our fire and police responders who were at the scene. They got the flames out, tended to the victims, and got them to the ambulance as fast as they could so they could receive emergency care. Also, many thanks to the AMR Air and Hawaii Life Flight for providing aircraft that transported people to Oahu. This is a tragedy that has stunned our community, but we're also thankful for those whose lives are spared. As Mayor, I'd like to thank the media and the public and ask you to please be respectful, to allow the families to grieve, our wounded to heal, and our investigators to do their jobs. Right now, we'll open the floor to questions. Again, we cannot release the names until the police are done with their investigation, and all questions related to the crash needs to be directed to the federal investigators. So thank you, and any questions?
Right before we get started, so the Mayor will take questions if you want. If you have questions about the scene and first responders, please ask either Chief Mainaga or Lieutenant Wan to come up. We also have representatives from the two departments who had personnel on the plane, planning and Corporation Counsel. They're not going to be, again, releasing any names. They can't release personal details about their people, but they can talk about what they were doing on Lanai and so on and so forth. So if you guys have any questions.
Mayor Arakawa, obviously here in these counties and these departments, everybody is like family. I can't imagine how difficult this is.
Well, we all get to work with each other. So, yeah, it's like family. Sorry. You know, we're a very small community, and everybody knows each other, everybody works with each other. Any kind of a loss like this really hits home. So just thank you for the consideration, and just know that everybody's pretty much affected.
Mayor, how often do they have these conferences over on Lanai?
We have meetings going on continuously, depending on the type of program. You know, most of our boards and commissions have meetings on Lanai and representatives on Molokai as well. So I would say almost daily we have some kind of communications between the different communities on various issues. Just because we have so many different boards, commissions, even council meetings, administration goes down. Departments have to go down to work with personnel. So it's pretty much constant.
Is there any reason to why some of them or most of them can't be done by teleconference in this particular case last night?
Teleconference is something that we looked into some time ago, and we actually bought units when we were on the council and put units on Molokai, Lanai, and in Hana. We were prohibited by state law from doing this because if any kind of communication was broken, we had to take the whole process together, and we had to let the community know about these meetings. So we had to reschedule them, and that takes like a full week before you can start it again. So the interruptions with the communication system before used to be very problematic. However, with the newer equipment that we have, the council now is starting to allow the outlying districts like Lanai, Molokai, and Hana to participate in council meetings. So this is something that we can re-explore.
Mayor, when did you hear about what happened?
Well, like most of what you've read in the paper, we just know that the plane went down. We knew that there were people within our departments that were involved. In this case, the pilot was also killed. You know, we use this airline quite a bit, so you build relationships over time. And we just knew it was a tragedy unfurling, and we just have to sit back and wait for information, just like all of you are looking for information.
What these planners are doing is so important to the community. It's connecting the communities.
Remember, we're a county of 4 islands, and we have to make sure that all of the islands have equal representation. So Molokai, Lanai are just like if you were in Honolulu, it would be like Pearl City and Aiea not being represented in the county. We have to represent them equally, so they have to be in communication.
Mayor, how many times did this group go out together, or is this a routine thing for this particular group to go to the meeting?
The departments generally will send people, but they're not necessarily the same people all the time. So depending on department staff and the specific topic of the meetings, different people are assigned. So it's not the same group all the time.
You talked about offering youth counselors understandable to the folks in this community who have
Yes.
are unable to move forward, and this is difficult.
Well, we're just going to have to work through this. There's no easy way to get through any of this. It's like deaths in the family. You know it's going to happen at some point. Until it actually happens, there's just no way of dealing with it. And each individual has to deal with this in their own way.
Mayor, with this being offshore, how difficult was it for rescue crews to get there?
Well, this was actually onshore. The airplane was going inward. So where it landed was a mile inshore from the airport. Yeah.
So how difficult was it to get to that scene, though? I imagine it's somewhat remote.
We do have
The
diversity
fire
personnel
and-
to answer those questions. Would you guys like them up there? Fire or police first?
I have one more question for the mayor.
Yes?
Given recent airplane crashes in Maui County in the last few months, are you considering sending employees by ferry rather than air taxi?
We do send employees by ferry as well. A lot of it is matter of convenience. Because of the infrequent transportation challenges that we have, we have to make a decision whether people are going to stay overnight if we have evening meetings or come back. A lot of our employees choose to want to come back and spend the night in their home rather than at a hotel. So for the most part, there is a choice whether to stay over or come back. But any evening meetings we have is problematic from a transportation standpoint.
Mayor, any other thoughts you'd like to add? I know there are other people here to speak, but I imagine it's going to be a long day.
Well, we'll let the other departments explain their portion and how it's playing out. It's going to be a long day. So we're just trying to make sure and listen to what's coming back as it comes back, information comes to us, and we'll digest it as we can. But the other departments are much better at explaining the technical things that are happening.
Let's have Nimai Naga from the fire department come up.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay.
Chief, can you just tell us about the call, when it happened, what happened?
Okay, the call came in, like Rod Anton said, around 9:25 last night. Call came in as a aircraft down Lanai Airport. So fire crews responded to Lanai Airport, and upon reaching there, they didn't see anything. So from there, they investigated, and as they circumvented the airport area, they located the aircraft about a mile south of the airport.
What's about that area?
Okay, that area was formerly pineapple land. So they had grass maybe around 3 feet high they had to go through. Being at night, it's kind of treacherous, so they had to be extra cautious, to reach the scene.
You were told that some contractors with Goodfellow Brothers will help to take...
Yeah, contractors, Goodfellow Brothers assisted fire in cutting a road to make it accessible to the crash.
So what did fire crews see?
Okay, fire crews arrived and they encountered the three surviving victims. They came across the aircraft. The aircraft was fully engulfed by the time they got there. So upon extinguishing the aircraft, at the same time, MPD officers were attending to the victims. They extinguished the aircraft and they discovered 2 victims within.
Can you offer any more details on how the passenger helped the other 2 passengers?
I cannot. I don't have any information on that.
I know there's so many experiences that your firefighters go through, but it's quite a scene, I would imagine.
Yes. Every day, the nature of the job, they encounter things like this, but it never gets easy.
They got there pretty quickly. 12 minutes.
Yeah, they got there within 12 minutes.
Chief, I assume the families have all been notified, is that correct?
That's something I cannot comment on.
I'm just wondering what the reason is for not releasing.
Yeah, maybe that would be police department.
Anything else you'd like to add, Chief? I mean, I know it's so important, the crews here.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that I think, we got experienced firefighters on that island. We got people that actually live on that island. So I think their local knowledge really helped in, getting to the scene and being there a little quicker so they could take action. Okay.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Lieutenant Juan with the Maui Police Department. I'll take any questions that you guys have at this time.
Tell us about their involvement.
Their involvement was the same as fire. They assisted in assisting the rescue efforts and attending to the victims and the survivors.
And tell us about what your officers and the scene shared with you about the scene.
That I don't have information as far as what they saw or observed at the scene.
It must have been difficult for them too.
Yes.
Outside of the community.
Yes, it was.
And they had notified the victims' family members,
Yes.
the families all that were notified.
Yes, they have.
And so the reason why their names can't be released at this point.
The names have still has to go through a process because of the identification of the bodies, the remains, depending on how the crash site was or is being investigated at this time. So the recovery will be done today, and identity of the victims has to go through a thorough investigation to identify each body that was found at the scene.
Any questions for planning or court counsel? Who would like to go first?
I'm Michelle McLean, the Deputy Planning Director. I'm here speaking for Planning Director Will Spence, who has gone to Honolulu to the hospital.
Michelle, I know this is tough. Your thoughts?
We're devastated. There really isn't anything more to say other than that.
I know we're not many folks, but this is a team. Tell us about the team.
The meeting was a meeting with the Maui Planning Commission, with the Lanai Community Plan Update Team. The Lanai Community Plan is being updated with a group of planners and GIS staff and support secretaries. This is the fourth or fifth meeting that they've had with the Lanai Planning Commission. They had more than a dozen meetings at the end of last year with the Lanai Community Plan Advisory Committee that was a citizens group. So this team has been traveling to Lanai on a regular basis for many months, sometimes by ferry, sometimes by charter. And the meeting last night was just one in a series of going through the community plan update process with the Planning Commission.
Did they call or contact you before they decided to come back or after the meeting was over?
I wasn't contacted. I don't know that anyone in our department was contacted.
Communication with anybody in the department as far as how things went?
Not that I'm aware of.
Michelle, going over there, do they spend the whole day there? Do they leave in the morning? Do they routinely stay most of the night?
The way that the series of meetings with the Lanai Planning Commission have been scheduled, they did have weekend meeting. I think they had there's another weekend meeting planned, but the majority of the meetings are evening meetings, just to facilitate community participation. It's just easier for the public to come to meetings at night. The meeting was scheduled to run from 5:30 to 8:30, so they would have left Maui sometime around 3 to get there and then be able to set up.
Michelle, the mayor talked about how one was a long-time employee, one was a bright young planner, all folks that you all knew so well. Tell me about the individuals that were part of this team. Obviously, to be doing this, they cared about the community and seeing it move forward.
Yeah, I don't really think we're talking in any detail about the individuals.
Just as a whole, obviously all of them cared deeply about what they were doing.
We're a relatively small department, and the update process is going through our long-range division, which is a small division, so it is a really tight, hard-working, wonderful core of people.
How many people in the department?
64 when we're fully staffed.
And the division that you bring to that you're in?
14 in the long-range division.
You know, everybody thinks that it was, going to work in the morning and seeing faces. What was it like when you guys showed up to work this morning?
Hard to describe. We started the day, the director and I came in early, so we would be there when the first employees came in. Also, the chaplain from MPD came with us, and we just tried to make contact with all of our employees as everyone came in. Most everyone had heard or had either seen the news last night and called, and so most of our staff had some notion.
Michelle, you said that you have used this same airline company regularly over the years.
Yeah.
How long has this company been used by the department or by the county?
Many years. As I said, these were special meetings with the Lanai Planning Commission, but the Lanai Planning Commission typically meets twice a month, and we typically go by charter aircraft. And that's been going on, I've been in this position more than 3 years now, and it was going on long before I joined the department.
Share any other thoughts, Michelle?
No, just our hearts go out to the victims' families, and just ask for everyone's thoughts for the recovery of the folks who are still in the hospital.
Any questions for Moana? Yeah.
I'm Juana Ludi, and I'm a Deputy Corporation Counsel. I found out this morning from my boss, Pat Wong.
Tell me about that.
I received a text message letting me know that something had happened, and that's pretty much it. I called.
And then when you started to hear more about what happened, I'm sure it was tough.
Sure. Our office consists of about 35 people, so it's pretty small, smaller than planning.
Some details are coming out about, just how some of the passengers helped each other.
Right.
Including within the department. Talk about that. I mean, that may have saved lives.
We're thankful for that, but I don't really know much detail other than what I've seen on the news. In other words, what you guys have provided us. But from what we've heard, it does sound like someone from our office did assist 2 members of planning. From my understanding, it's really heroic, so we're proud of him.
How does your department work with the planning?
Our department provides legal counsel to all county departments and boards and commissions, and so people in our department work closely with planning and all departments. We've got a section that handles advisory type work, and then the litigation section. I'm in litigation.
So there would always be somebody from your department when it comes to these types of...
Yes. We attend all boards, commissions, and departmental type meetings to provide legal advice.
Do you want to share your thoughts today?
It's been a rough day. Our office is somber.
What's helping everybody move forward?
Yeah, my boss has been very supportive. We're thankful to the mayor's office for providing us with grief counseling if necessary. There is a lot of support within this county and this community.
Needless to say, it's very early, but as soon as possible, will you provide a way for the community to send their best wishes to the folks in your coverage?
I believe that will happen. It'll probably be coordinated through the mayor's office, but certainly that's something that we would like to offer the community if possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks. That's thank you for coming today, and safe travels.
And there we have it, a news conference involving the Planning Commission, Corporation Council, Maui Police and Fire, and the mayor leading off, very emotional, almost in tears, as he talked about the two members of the planning department who perished in that plane crash, calling it, it's like a family, and talking about them, one being a bright young planner who had a great future ahead, and the other, a longtime employee of the planning department who had been working for the county for decades. And
Visibly shaken.
Visibly shaken, saying that it's such a small community and they really pull together. They were there on Lanai, which is part of their county, just to work with the Lanai Planning Commission and to plan the long-term growth of that island.
The mayor giving us a little insight of actually who was on this plane. He also told us a little bit about the survivors. We know the survivors had second and third degree burns, not only on their hands but also on their face. But we also learned, as we just heard, one is a hero, pulling two of the other members out of the plane and basically saving their lives.
And the fire department talking about how important it was to have Maui firefighters, the Maui County firefighters from Lanai that helped them get to that kind of remote area within 12 minutes.